You're welcome back. The insurance industry in Nigeria recorded about 369.2 billion naira in the second quarter of this year, indicating a 20.1% growth rate compared to the same period of the previous year and an impressive 65% quarter-on-quarter growth. The non-life segment maintained its primacy at 59.3% of the total premium generated. Oil and gas was the leading driver, 32.5%, and distant second we had 20.7% for fire. Motor insurance stood at 14.8%, while marine and aviation accidents and miscellaneous reported a share of 12.3%. Well, let's drill into this industry and see some of the developments. An area that some Nigerians might think is kind of irrelevant, but I have someone who's been working at this for a while now to tell us the relevance and how it will affect you. We have Mr. Ikerete Olagamikon. He's a convener Insurance September. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Good morning, Mr. Igam. Thank you so much for joining us, and happy holiday to you.
Happy holiday to you.
All right. So let's start by asking, these numbers that we see, do they indicate growth in the insurance industry generally in the country?
Well, it indicates growth for those who are studying the environment in terms of the reports. However, I am looking at the impact on the lives of the people. What is this doing for the lives of the people? We have an industry that is doing a lot for the corporate entities, but very little, for the individuals, for the citizens per se. So that's what I'm looking for, and most of the time when I look for that, it doesn't show a lot of hope as we see on this other side.
So where do you trace that disconnect from? That even though we see growth in numbers, from your perspective, is not impactful growth. Where is the disconnect?
Well, the disconnect is where it has been, I would say, for a very long time, where we always talk about insurance awareness, insurance education for even the policyholders. And you find a situation where someone is happy to have insurance when he's working in the corporate environment. However, the moment he leaves that environment, he doesn't have insurance anymore. He doesn't feel he needs insurance. So the question is, why does he feel that way? Because he has never understood the value of insurance.
Maybe because he hasn't understood that the value of insurance is because they haven't felt the impact. For instance, a lot of people get the third-party insurance for vehicles only because they are compelled to. How many people actually use it, or how useful is it? A lot of people do not trust the system because it seems when it's time for the insurance to come through, there are so many details and bureaucracy and stories that stall the impact that the people are looking for. So people lose confidence in the system.
Okay, you are right. You are right. However, where it begins from, by my understanding, is that people don't even understand that the third party or whatever policy you have from insurance is a contract. And so, if you have a contract, you should read the contract and understand what the contract says. If you feel you don't have time to read the contract, you should engage either an insurance broker or any other person, your lawyer, to read through it and point out things to you so that you can understand that you are well protected. And so when people don't read their policy documents, which are the contract document that they have, when something happens, you've not read it. Oh, and you hear a lot of, oh, I didn't know. And I didn't just know. Oh, maybe because I didn't read it. And I have seen a lot of executives, top executives, who say this when something goes wrong. And the question is, why didn't you read it? But having said that, when the claim now happens, which is the point, which is the moment of truth for any insurance company, what is expected as a business is to be able to, make the customer feel comfortable despite the mistake that he has made. And some companies do it, some companies cannot do it because they have different issues. Maybe at that time they are financially stressed, and nobody is watching to say, oh, even if you are financially stressed, you have made this commitment, you have to pay this. And if you're not paying this, then you have to make a commitment to pay and stay with that commitment. A lot of the time, that process is not well checked. So people suffer through that process. And then, people have heard that insurance, you can't trust them, insurance, you can't trust them. Please, it's not only insurance that you can't trust in this country. However, that of insurance has been taken from generation to generation. And you have also seen where, in spite of insurance paying claims, I mean, last year, as we read the numbers, insurance paid over 250 billion as insurance. Where did that money come from? Where did that money go? Most of the time, we don't discuss that. We only discuss the ones that have not been done. So there's a gap, which we are all trying to fill by way of communication.
So since we are trying to fill that gap, Mr. Icon, and I mean, you guys in the insurance industry, you do know there's a gap. Why is it not possible for you to help the customers with those fine prints which they miss? For instance, if I'm going to buy an insurance for my house, for instance, why can't you educate me and say, these are the risks, these are the fine prints which I may not, may not be so obvious to me. If this happens, why don't you help clients to understand? That way, you're helping more Nigerians get confident about the insurance system, and also it makes the insurance even more active.
Yeah, you are very correct, and that's why I said we are doing something to close the gap. Now, a lot of people were not even discussing insurance before now because it was seen as something you do for yourself and it is between you and your insurance company. However, the gap, the way we are trying to close the gap is by some activities that we are doing either on our own path or on the path of the insurance company. But unfortunately, insurance companies are also, not doing it the way they should do it. The communication is poor, in my own view. The communication is not effective, in my own view. You cannot do what you don't know. So you don't see a lot of insurance companies engaging, brand marketing companies. If you begin to count, you might not find more than 10 insurance companies that have brand marketing companies that they are working with. And so we have seen that gap, for example. Insurance September, for example, is about engaging policyholders and enabling them to share their experiences and expectations. And we interact and are able to get to close the gap in terms of knowledge. And what we did the last month, was to do it with farmers, strictly with farmers. And the outcomes have been well, applauded. And that is what we expect is happening with a lot of other small groups that are trying to do this. I mean, you have a population of over 200 people. And even if you have a population of adults of over 160 million people, you can imagine how you begin to engage. Now, it's not to say that it is too much to engage, but you first of all have to correct what had been wrong and now create a new impression. I don't think it's a tough call, but we just find out that it's not been very, there's a need for change of culture on the part of the insurance companies and even the regulator. Because a lot of the time we are responding to calls that have been made about complaints and all of that. Why don't we become a bit more proactive and make these things, accessible? There are all sorts of social media platforms these days, but you can hardly find a number of insurance companies there. Maybe if you count, like I have done sometime in the past, there are not more than 12 out of 55 companies that are on Twitter. And this is a challenge. How do you get them? Because when they even come on Twitter, including the regulator, the first thing they hear is, I have a claim. And instead of engaging the person and taking it further, you find out that there's no post in 3 days after such a time. So it's understanding this. If you don't understand it, like I said earlier, engage people who understand it, and they will do the job for you.
All right, so it sounds like you guys have a lot of work to do, but in just a minute or so, because it's almost time for a break, should insurance be seen as an instrument for protection or financial freedom?
Oh, insurance is certainly an instrument for financial protection, because if you acquire a new thing, even if you steal a new thing, you want to protect it. That's the natural thing to do. Like I said in a recent advisory for this October, I said, why don't we have a lot of financial gurus talking about insurance? Because sometimes they don't just take time to understand what insurance is. All they understand is that I had an experience with an insurance company and they are no good. Even from policy makers' position, they bring their personal experience in insurance into it. But we know what insurance is doing for other economies anywhere. When you hear that an economy is resilient, it's about insurance. And in Nigeria, there are a number of different companies who are enjoying insurance quietly. And it amazes me when we discuss how to expose the industry to other people. Somebody will say, oh, we paid claims of over 3 billion to a particular company that was gutted by fire. And nobody has said anything about it. Simply because some people believe that, oh, the client will not like it. And I say, why wouldn't the client like it? Why wouldn't the client like it? So it's promoting our business and promoting the client also. That he did insurance it's a good thing that he did insurance. Insurance got value for the client. So why wouldn't the client want value for other people?
Okay, all right. Mr. Ikerete Olagamikon, thank you so much. Convener Insurance September, obviously more conversations will need to be held on insurance and its impact. And as you noted, the insurance companies themselves have some work to do. Let's take a break now. After the break, well, it's a holiday. The markets may not be open in Nigeria, but we do have a recap, a summary of how the market fared last week. But the crypto market never sleeps. We'll do all of that after the break. This is Business Morning on Channels Television.